guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. Today we're going to rank off the top 10 rare void champions inside Raid Shadow Legends depending on what you need on your team. These champions should not be food. Make sure that you pay attention if you pull any of these champions. Now, I want to start out by giving a shout out to Paragon and Renegade, two void champions, honorable mentions if you will, that will not make this list, but they are kind of specialist, a little bit too niche for this list where I'm kind of valuing overall utility, but Paragon and Renegade can be used up to Spiders 20. So if you need that, especially for your missions, definitely check out those two champions. Also in today's video, instead of just covering all their skills like I do in all my other ranking videos, I'm actually going to focus a little bit less on their skills. We'll go through them really quickly, but more so on how to build these champions, kind of a quick 30-second champion review on all of these champions in terms of how to actually build them out, which masteries to kind of end with for each of these champions. So a lot to get to. If you like this format, by the way, let me know in the comments below. Give me a thumbs up just so I know that you like it. Hey, if you don't like it, if you'd rather me just stick to the skills, give me a thumbs down or let me know in the comments. Either way, it's all good, guys. Let's go ahead and jump into the list. So first up is Requiem Tender. Requiem Tender is a champion that we talked about here a few times now on the channel. She has a revival on a rare, very rare. It revives an ally by 30% HP and fills her turn meter by 30%. She also has a decreased attack on her A1, the weak version, and it removes all debuffs from all allies and then places a 15% continuous heal. So she is used a lot of the time in Clan Boss in the early game. She can remove those stuns, remove the poisons, and then place a continuous heal on them for 2 turns. Kind of a very miniature version of Bad L, but plus the revive, of course. So if you want to use her as your main decrease attack champion, you're going to need accuracy on her. If not, then you can just ignore accuracy on this champion. So it depends on if you're using her as your decrease attack champion on Clan Boss. You can build her if you want to in lifesteal gear, but most people will just go speed in defense. A lot of speed and defense on your Requiem Tender. And then on top of that, for masteries, most people decide to go under the support tree and the offense tree for Requiem Tender. Go down to War Master on the offense tree, and then go down to Lasting Gifts and Master Hexer if you are, again, relying on the A1 here, decrease attack, on the support tree. As I always say here on the channel, it depends on how you're using these champions in terms of how you're going to be equipping them, but generally speaking, speed sets work great on her, otherwise defense, life, stuff like that. That's Requiem Tender. Next up is Veteran, who is an Orc Void champion, obviously. On his A1, he is the big boy version of decrease attack 50%. He's another great option for Clan Boss. If you're building him up for Clan Boss, go ahead and consider either a lifesteal set, or you can go with a toxic set, right? So if you have that enough healing kind of on your team, if you have a Requiem Tender, say, on your team, you might want to go ahead and consider putting a toxic set on him. Start landing those poisons on top of the decrease attack, can add to his versatility. I do want to kind of touch base on a lot of these champions on maybe some non-simple sets, artifacts that you can use on these champions that work well with them. On the A2, increase crit rate buff on all allies for 3 turns, damage inflicted according to defense. So they scale proportional to defense, his abilities, so you definitely want to go with a defense chest on your Veteran and go with an accuracy banner on your Veteran. Now for your gloves, for the gauntlets, I would not advise you go defense on those. I would actually go ahead and build him out with a crit rate gauntlets on him. Try to get some extra damage out of your Veteran because he does scale off defense, so it's a nice opportunity to get some extra damage, whether it be against Clan Bosses or just wherever else you're using your Veteran. Massacre attacks all enemies, so in AoE he's viable to be used in campaign as well. Not like an S tier champion, but he can help you out for sure. Places a block, 50% chance, 60 when booked on a 3-turn cooldown AoE. That's what we're looking for. Placing a block buffs debuff for 1 turn. Damage increases according to this champion's max HP. So really cool kind of kit on Veteran. Again, we want accuracy banner on for his amulet. You definitely want to go with crit damage as well. Try to maximize his damage output while loading up on that defense in terms of substats. That's Veteran. Wait, I forgot his masteries. We want to go with Sniper and Master Hexer on the support tree, and we want to go War Master on the offense tree in terms of where you want to end off on his masteries. Next up is Doomscreech, Void Affinity Undead Horde. You can go with Spirit Haste on your Doomscreech, you can go with War Master, you can go with Lasting Gifts as well in terms of your ending masteries on your Doomscreech. He's a very interesting kit because you'll see his A3 here actually is damage based on his current HP. So if you start this as kind of an opening move in the arena, well, you can build him up with higher HP. However, just keep in mind that it's very unreliable. So building him out with total just maxing tons of HP is probably not the way to go. I prefer just building him with a mix of HP and defense and trying to get that crit rate up to 100% because he can actually put out some decent damage. Now, of course, he's known for his A2, fills a turn meter of all allies by 30%, plays a 60% increased defense buff on all allies for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown. So it's a really great ability there on his A2. On his A1, it's actually based off of attack here. So his A1, attack and HP, attacks 1 enemy 2 times, has a chance of landing that decreased accuracy. So you have to have accuracy on him if you want to go ahead and take advantage of the A1 debuff, decreased accuracy, really not being a huge asset in this game in terms of a big debuff, one of the big ones that we talk about. So it's up to you if you want to build accuracy on him. In terms of set, you can go defense, you can go life, you can go speed. Speed is what you want to prioritize on your Doomscreech. Keep him going and ideally have him going first on your team. When I talk about opening moves in the arena, sure, this is great, his A3, but really you're going to want to be leading off with the increased turn meter of all allies. He's really a champion who, although he's serviceable in the arena, you're really going to be using him in dungeons, in campaign as well on your Doomscreech. Now, one final thing to note on Doomscreech here is you can use a shield set. Shield set is actually really good in terms of a non-normal set, non-basic set, I think, in the game to go ahead and consider when gearing out your Doomscreech. Next up is Coaltar, which I put out a full 20+ minute video on just last week, so I'll have you guys refer to that video if you want to know how to gear her. One thing that we did learn about Coaltar is on her, the ability that she is known for. The Heartseeker ability does millions of damage against bosses based on enemy max HP on a 4-turn cooldown with a full turn meter depletion, which you need accuracy for. You know what? Attack does not really matter at all on this ability, so if you don't care about the first 2 abilities and you're only using her as a heavy hitter against those bosses and wherever you're using her, Fire Knight, Ice Golem, or Spider's Den, then you really just want to focus on crit rate, getting it to 70%, because she has an extra 30% chance of landing that crit rate, and then just building as much crit damage as possible. She is a champion you should be trying to put crit damage gauntlets on, and then trying to get that crit rate up to 70% on the rest of her gear. Again, attack is not going to be a huge priority for you on your Coaltar if you want to be hitting extraordinarily hard on this Heartseeker. My Coaltar is at 330% crit damage, and she's hitting for around 1.8 million damage on the Spider. So that's what you want to be going for on your Coaltar. Also, Coaltar is very squishy. She has a very low base speed and defense. So having speed boots is usually important and imperative on your Coaltar. Having crit damage amulet is great. Accuracy banner is fantastic on your Coaltar, and you're definitely going to usually want to consider putting a defense chest on her. Again, attack doesn't even matter that much on her chest plate. Again, refer to that video if you want to see all this demonstrated out. So I want to go with the, well, let me just talk about her other abilities real quick. 4-hitter on her A1, great for Fire Knight for that reason. Some people use Giant Slayer on her. I prefer the extra crit damage and deadly precision on her myself, so it's up to you guys as well in terms of your masteries, but either of those should be fine for you. I like the crit damage. Again, crit damage is so important to her A3, attacks all enemies, has a decreased accuracy on her A2, which is a 3-turn cooldown, and then places a poison debuff for 2 turns if the target is under heal reduction. That is Coaltar. Next up is Haruspex, Lizardman Void Champion. Haruspex is pretty cool. We want to go with lasting gifts on him. We want to go with Master Hexer and War Master for the offense and support trees. Again, guys, I'm just going to probably mention this 1 or 2 more times this video. Don't just blindly copy the masteries that I tell you. These are just my suggestions in terms of general masteries people choose to end with on these champions. Depending on your team, you might need or want different masteries. So on Infected Liver, his A1 here, attacks 1 enemy 2 times, has a 35% chance when booked of placing a small version of poison, fills the turn meter of all allies by 15%, and then places a 15% increased speed buff on all allies for 2 turns. A 3-turn speed booster, not as good as Apothecary's, but the rest of his kit differentiates itself enough, especially on his A3 here, where you can revive a dead ally with 35% HP and then fill their turn meter by 30%. So if you want a reviver, maybe consider a Haruspex instead of an Apothecary. He also has a speed in the arena by 15% if you don't have a speed lead for, say, maybe your nuking team to kind of speed up your entire team. In terms of his other masteries, or excuse me, his other gear, what you really want to go with on him, you can see he's just buffing people on his A2, and his A3 is just a revival, so he only has 1 ability based on attack, and is laying poisons. So really, you don't want to build him with a ton of attack, you want to build him with a ton of speed and then defense. So speed and defense, and then if you want to rely on that poison, go ahead and build a little bit of accuracy on him as well. Next up is Hound. He is a demon spawn character who's really popular in this game. He has an AoE on his A1. That makes him a great candidate for a provoke or a stun set. So provoke or stun sets do great on Hound. Consider them. Let's take a look at the rest of his kit. It has the decreased speed on the A1 based off defense, so you also want to be building him with a lot of defense. Life sets work on him as well. Defense sets work with him if you don't have the provoke or the stun. Has a continuous heal and the reflect damage on his A2, which he's known for, and then a block damage buff on an ally for 1 turn on a 3-turn cooldown on deflect. So again, Hound is a really unique and really good champion, especially with that AoE again on the A1. You can make him your main campaign farmer as well. He's one of the better rare campaign farmers in the game. Retribution on the defense tree and Flawless Execution are my suggestions on the offense tree in terms of his masteries. Next up is Ragemonger. Ragemonger is a great Void champion for the early game and the mid game. He doesn't scale as well as some of the other champions that we talked about today into the late game, so just keep that in mind. You usually have better options by the time you get to the end game. But Ragemonger is just fine, a very serviceable champion. Dragon's Lair, Clan Boss, campaign locations, you can really use him even in spiders as well. So in terms of the masteries on your Ragemonger, you want to go with the support tree, lasting gifts, and Master Hexer, and on the offense tree you want to go with War Master. So attacks 1 enemy, continuous heal buff on this champion for 1 turn if the attack is critical. Not too bad there on the A1. On the A2 here we have attacks all enemies 2 times, makes him a viable candidate for perhaps a stun set if you need a little bit of CC built into your team. Each hit has a 50% chance of placing a poison, weak version of poison debuff. He is an attack-based champion, so you do want to go attack on him, build him up with a lot of speed, attack, crit damage, some accuracy as well. Speed sets work great on him, accuracy sets work great on him as well. Again, stun is an option as well. Attacks 1 enemy, has a 40% chance, 55 when booked, of placing an HP burn. So a very rare champion in the fact that he has both HP burn and poison in his kit. Also a double hitter AoE on the A2. So definitely, again, a very serviceable champion inside the game. Anything that I'm missing on Ragemonger? Lifesteal, obviously, if you're going to be using him. Same goes with all these champions for the most part, guys. If you're going to be using them on Clan Boss, definitely, you should be considering the lifesteal set as well. I haven't mentioned it on every single champion, but it should go kind of without saying. Here comes Seducer from Undead Horde. Again, War Master, Lasting Gifts, and Master Hexer are the ideal masteries for your Seducer. In terms of sets and artifacts to put on him, he's really good with a taunting set as well. Make him your main tank and make all the enemies have to target him. All of his damage is based on defense, so you want to build him with a ton of defense, some speed, put him in a taunting set if you can, and you're looking really good, right? Also accuracy if you want to land his sleep on his A1 and his A2, he has a decreased attack on AoE, so you're going to need a little bit of accuracy on him as well. And then on his A3, increased defense on all allies, and a block debuffs on all allies for 2 turns on a 4-turn cooldown. Not too bad. He kind of does a little bit of everything, does Seducer. Also, he has his Temptress ability on his A4. You guys can read it, Ally Protect as well. You don't really see him paired with Temptress too often, so we won't spend a lot of time on that. But again, consider Seducer in a taunting set. Build him out with a ton of defense. He'll be putting out some significant damage, debuffing the team, and placing that increased defense on your team. He's a great champion. So next up is Bellower, guys, from the Ogryn tribe. Everybody knows Bellower here. I did another video similar to Coaltar where I tried him out in 2 endgame builds. If you want to check that video, that and the Coaltar video will be linked in the description below, guys, because we really get into kind of the niche details regarding how to artifact, how to build up Bellower. You have so many options with Bellower. One thing that Bellower is absolutely amazing in, there's not many champions better, with 3 AoEs in his kit. All 3 of his active abilities, all 3 of his abilities are AoEs, so putting him in a stun set is absolutely amazing. He's also a great debuffer, so you're gonna have to build him out with a lot of accuracy no matter what you do. So accuracy, speed are really, really valuable on Bellower. In terms of his masteries here, as I go through his abilities, block cooldown skills on the A1 on an AoE, decrease speed on the A2 on an AoE, and decrease attack and defense on an AoE on the A3 on a 4-turn cooldown. So again, accuracy, really important. I prefer building him out as more of a support in CC champion with that stun set on him. Some people use him as kind of a nuker and build him out with a high attack, high crit rate, high crit damage. For me, the damage that he's putting out just doesn't make sense to build him to be a huge nuker on your team. I'd rather have him survive and move really fast. Put a lot of speed on him, put a lot of accuracy, land those debuffs, land that crowd control on the stun, and you're looking absolutely great. He can be better than he can as kind of a nuker. But nevertheless, some people do decide to go ahead and build him out as a nuker. Maybe they just have the better gear, or maybe they like those 3 AoEs. So that's totally up to you. So some people go defense and support, some people go offense and support. Again, that's up to you how you want to use him. Flawless execution is usually what they go with on the offense tree, and you have a few options. Master Hexer is going to be pretty much mandatory on him. You can also go Evil Eye is going to be really important on your Bellower. Other than that, you can go Sniper on him as well. You can go defense tree and go all the way down to the end of defense tree with Fearsome Presence as well. So a lot of options on Bellower because he's a very, very versatile champion because of his unique kit. Next up is Painkeeper, actually the last champion on this list. Painkeeper is a great champion. A lot of people use her in Clan Boss as well. You can use her in a variety of different areas inside the game. A lot of people go with Spirit Haste on support tree and War Master on the offense tree for Painkeeper. You want to build her out to have a lot of speed, keep her going a lot. She's going to really improve your team. And of course, having a lot of HP and defense because both of her skills kind of use both of those stats. Obviously, defense will keep her alive. Her A1 does scale off of defense first, then attack. Attacks 1 enemy 2 times, fills his champion's turn meter, by 10%. And on the A2, scales off of HP and attack, and attacks all enemies, heals all allies by 15% of this champion's max HP. So a lot of people prefer to kind of err on the side of building her with higher HP because of that heal. But again, defense is really important, especially in Clan Boss as well. And again, decreases the cooldown of all ally skills is the Combat Tactics ability that she is kind of known for, along with that heal, and that is on a 4-turn cooldown when booked. So Combat Tactics, again, not necessarily an ability that scales off of any stats. So again, you just want her going as fast as possible, provided she's not on a speed-tuned team on Clan Boss, so she can get as many Combat Tactics in as possible. And again, building her with high HP will help get more out of that heal on the A2. And other than that, guys, you're going to be pretty good with your Painkeeper. Some people do decide to build her out with the crit rate and crit damage as well, put out a little bit of damage there on that AoE on her A2. So that's going to go ahead and conclude this list, guys. Hope you enjoyed kind of talking a little bit more about the gear and the masteries on all these champions as we kind of rank them out. I don't think it's added too long to the video, so hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you didn't, again, just go ahead and let me know. Thanks for the support here on the channel, guys. I really appreciate it. And as always, take care, guys.